RMBI gene. Here to take you on another level and new horizons. See clear, no visine.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Reggie. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for checking it out. Don't forget, check out some of the other videos, man. I'm sure you're going to find something you like. I talk about a lot of different topics, mostly self-care, relationships, just self-improvement stuff, man, making yourself better. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Now, today, I haven't talked about HBCUs in a while. You guys know I'm a big supporter of HBCU programs. I love HBCU football, basketball. I love HBCU sports. The bands, who don't love the HBCU bands, man? The baddest around, okay? But this is sort of old news, but I want to talk to you about why this is really relevant now and what's the difference maker. And I want to talk about, everybody knows that Deion Sanders has decided to be the head coach. He was hired as the head coach of Jackson State University. Now, we all know he sort of inherited some problems. They had a couple of NCAA violations. Prior to that, the dance team was having some issues with some hazing. Then all of a sudden the band was getting smaller as the season went on. So Jackson State does have its challenges, okay? But they got a new president that they picked up, I want to say like last year sometime. They got a new president. So I think they're trying to clean things up. They're trying to get things back online, get things back on point. They're definitely going to do it. Regardless, I still love my HBCUs. And I'm going to say this real quick. I'm not going to harp on this, but I really hate the fact that people don't talk about HBCUs. And I don't like people who use YouTube and other social media to really point out that the only time they want to talk about HBCU schools, HBCU programs is when it's something negative and they want to build their channel and get following based on drama and gossip. I don't approve of that. There are so many good things that HBCU programs do. HBCU schools all the way around contribute to the community. Recognize that, okay? But today, Deion Sanders as the head coach of Jackson State University. Now, people love Deion. Some people don't love Deion. When he played football, he played for the Atlanta Falcons. I can't remember who else he played for. But anyway, he is a Hall of Famer. And you got to give Deion Sanders credit. He was probably one of the best cornerbacks to play the game. Definitely one of the fastest. One of the things people said about Deion was that Deion Sanders could not tackle. Now, if I remember correctly on one interview, he actually said he don't like when people say that. Deion, you know you was not the best tackler. But hands down, definitely one of the best cornerbacks that played the game. He took on some of the greatest receivers like Jerry Rice. Great matchup between those two. So Deion Sanders, hands down, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Great football player. He also played basketball. But let's talk about what we're really here to talk about. Is him being announced as the head coach of Jackson State University last year. I want to tell you why that's so important. Now, he is not the first NFL player to go back and coach an HBCU, but I want to tell you what's the difference between Deion Sanders and the individuals prior to him. Now, we all remember Ken Riley and Earl Holmes went back to coach FAMU. Stump Mitchell went back to coach Southern. Tyrone Wheatley, Morgan State. Lindsey Hunter, Mississippi Valley basketball. He actually coached the basketball. Steve Wilson coaches at Howard. Sam Washington, Monty Coleman, NC AT&T. And we can't forget that Doug Williams won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. I want to say, was the Redskins? Yeah, with the Washington Redskins. The Redskins did him wrong. He won the Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins, and then he went and coached at Grambling as the head coach for Grambling State. Now, here's the thing I want to say about this. The difference between Deion Sanders now coaching versus the other people, and it's not taken away from their talent or what they contributed to the NFL, but when they went back to coach at the HBCU college level, they didn't really have the notoriety. Now, Doug Williams will always be known for his Super Bowl win. But the thing about it is, once he won the Super Bowl, Washington got rid of him, and he sort of faded away until he was actually picked up at Grambling. And it made the news, but didn't make the news. Deion Sanders really blew up. Everybody was like, what? Deion Sanders coaching JSU? Oh, I'm sorry, Grambling State University? But here's what I think the difference is between Deion Sanders and the other coaches that went back to coach at the HBCUs. Deion Sanders really stayed relevant. And I think what really helped him do that is the fact that he's been a sports analysis for different sports channels. He's always doing interviews. He's still very active on the sports in the sports network, whereas the other players were not really active in the sports network. Everybody knows Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders had his own reality TV show at one point. So his name is still very big, very relevant. He's still influential in the sports world. Whereas the other players, once they left the NFL, they didn't really have much influence, and they sort of, like I said, they sort of faded away. But here's what I think Deion Sanders, why Deion Sanders becoming the head coach at Jackson State University is a very big move. A very big move. For one, to have someone with Deion Sanders as his caliber go back and actually coach at JSU, I think he can pull in some of the other big name players that actually played, that are still relevant, that he can actually bring them in to HBCUs to maybe either coach other teams or maybe even contribute as coaching with JSU. This is going to help HBCU football programs with recruiting, because when you look at somebody like Deion Sanders, these kids are going to look at him and say, Now, the biggest problem that HBCUs have against other Division I schools like Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio, Penn State, Auburn, and Alabama is the fact that most black kids feel like, I'm good at the sport. I'm really good at playing football, but I got a better chance of going to the NFL if I go to a school that's not an HBCU. Despite the fact we've had some great players come from HBCUs and go to the NFL. Walter Payton, okay? So the thing about it is the fact that we got Deion Sanders going back and actually coaching. I think he can pull some of those students from some of these high schools to come and play for an HBCU. So the more players we get like Deion Sanders, who are very relevant, who's still very connected to the NFL, who knows what modern day NFL teams are looking for, he can really help them get to the NFL, and I think that's what they're going to see with Deion Sanders. So recruiting-wise, I'm expecting Jackson State University to have a very strong recruiting class. For one, Deion Sanders can talk, okay? He can sell. He's a salesman. He's going to sell JSU, and he's dedicated to the game. But I think with him being Deion Sanders, that he's going to bring a stronger recruiting class. I also think that he's not just going to recruit high school students to come and play for the HBCUs. I think he's going to kind of get other NFL players that once they retire, just imagine somebody like Marshawn Lynch coming to say, I'm going to be either a offensive coach. You know what I'm saying? So we got some great players who are no longer playing. Michael Irvin. You know what I'm saying? So getting some of these guys, Emmitt Smith, some of these guys that are retired, that are no longer playing, getting some of these guys to come back and actually start coaching in HBCUs, that's going to speak volumes. Even for the NFL team, just knowing that you got these players who are now coaching these young guys in college, making them successful, giving them the right skill set, it's going to kind of make them take a stronger look at HBCUs. Because if they put their names on a player, which Deion Sanders ain't putting his name on nobody unless he believe in it. I'm sorry. And that, you can take that however you want it. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. But I think the NFL will take HBCUs more serious when you get some more high profile black players actually going back to the HBCUs, working with the HBCU kids, and actually getting our HBCU college football programs, really ramped up with modern day football skill set, modern day football plays. You can really tell the difference when you watch an HBCU football game, the way the offenses ran, the way the defenses are ran, versus watching some of the Division I schools. And I think getting somebody like Deion Sanders with his connections in there, you're going to see a different offense coming from Jackson State University. One of the biggest problems that Jackson State University had last year, the first game they played against Bethune-Cookman, they never had their quarterback position finalized. Even throughout the season, they could not resolve the issue with their quarterback position. But I think you're going to see, as Deion Sanders started to work with Jackson State University, and more black coaches from the black players from the NFL who decide to actually go and help out these HBCU programs, you're going to see better technique. You're going to see better skill sets being developed. You're going to see better offensive, better defensive schemes. You're going to see a higher recruiting class potentially moving towards the HBCUs. Now, here's where the pressure is really going to fall on Deion Sanders. This is not just Deion Sanders coming to an HBCU school being a coach, because he's going to set the tone. A lot of expectation is on his shoulder. Now, whether Deion Sanders understands that or not, I think he's smart enough to understand. But if he is able to go to Jackson State University and create a successful program, that's going to bring more kids to that school and also to other HBCUs. But primarily, JSU is going to be a top notch, especially when you start getting into the recruiting season and more kids from JSU are getting recruited to the NFL. It's going to make more kids start drifting towards JSU. We start getting more African Americans, football players who play in the NFL, to go back and actually start coaching. You're going to see a difference in the game, and you're going to see more players starting to actually move towards, like, I want to play for an HBCU now. So, which is really going to help the HBCUs. It's going to help their enrollment. I mean, because think about it right now. When the HBCUs play on TV, it is the most crappiest showing that the TV stations can produce. And I'm dead serious. ESPN I think it's ESPNU does show an HBCU game, but they use the lowest quality showing. I don't know. You know how you got like 1080, you got like 720, 740, then you got like 430. I think they use like one when they show HBCU games. They put absolutely no effort into it. When the other schools like Georgia, Auburn, and all these other schools play, even after the game, ESPN does these very nice short clip edits to show you the scoring drives, the highlights of the game. They don't do that for the HBCUs, even when they play on ESPNU. So hopefully that will be something that's changed as well. The bowl games for HBCUs is treated like crap. They don't value it. It doesn't get the publicity. It doesn't get known. There's no New Year's Eve, New Year's Day game. So hopefully getting Deion Sanders in there, that he's going to bring the spotlight. Like I said, it's a lot of weight on his shoulders. Because if he's successful, he can really change the perception. He can really change the outlook, the way the NFL sees HBCU schools, the way television stations view HBCU schools, but more importantly, the way young football players in these high schools coming up see HBCU. They see them as an opportunity, just like they see the other schools, that not only can they get a great education, but also they can advance in their athletic careers well. Now, with that being said, and that was a lot, it is a lot on Deion Sanders' shoulders. It's a lot. And it seems like Jackson State is sort of giving him control to make the decisions he needs for the team. I think he's got to cut down on the flamboyant stuff and really get in there and show I want a winning program. Now, we all know that, Deion Sanders wants to win. He wants to win. And I think once he gets in there and he sets up a structure, and I know he's going back, he's trying to get some good coaching staff to support him and make this thing work. He's really going to have to make sure that, he buckles down. Now, he's already pulling in some top recruits to Jackson State University. He actually had one guy transfer from a Division I school like Florida or something like that to Jackson State. So I think he's going to get that. But the thing about it is he's got to keep that momentum going. And I'm really hoping that as it goes on, I hope he's successful, not just for Deion Sanders. I want Deion Sanders to be successful so this becomes a trend with the HBCUs all the way down. HBCU programs are so underrated. The band programs, the academic programs, the dance programs. When you watch the dance teams that perform with the bands, you're seeing young women out there that are really passionate and skilled at what they do. The bands are skilled at what they do. Go back and watch. There's a video on YouTube at Grambling at Cal State. No disrespect to Cal State, but when you watch Cal State, they're sitting there, and I was in the band. Okay, trust me, I can speak on this. But sometimes what bands do is you see like a little clip on the instrument and a little folder about this big, and that's like a music sheet, and you had to sit there and flip it. Every time you're playing your song, because they don't have their song memorized, they basically play from their music sheets. Whereas you had Grambling on the other side playing song for song with them, everything from memory. I really want this to be a success. Like I said, I love my HBCUs, man. I love the sports, the programs, the academics. I always so support. If you want to support the HBCU programs, I'm going to put my website right here. There's a link in the top corner on my website, HBCU, where you can go and contribute to whatever HBCU programs you want to. Let's help these kids out. Let's show Deion Sanders some support, and let's support these athletic programs. Let's support these young men and women in the bands, in the sports programs, the basketball, baseball, because they deserve our support. So that's how I want to say. I hate the pandemic came around because it kind of screwed up being able to see the football season with the HBCUs. Keep in mind, Jackson State University is still under some sanctions because of some violations from the previous year. But the next time the season comes around, that should be done, and they should be ready to get in there and be full blown. So looking forward to that. Keep in mind, FAMU is now in the SWAC. Football wise, I think FAMU is going to do pretty good. FAMU has a very good football team. They have some problems as well, but going to the SWAC, I think they're going to have a good I think the football team is going to do well. I said this before. The football team is going to do well, but their band is going to get clobbered. I'm telling you. FAMU's band, don't get me wrong, FAMU has always been known for their band. But the one thing about it is the band we used to know with FAMU, that precision, that technique is not there. When you watch their field performances, they're a little sloppy right now. And I know they got the, thing at the end, the tuba jumping and all that. It still don't transition on the field. And you can see it in their field show. Every year, Bethune-Cookman destroyed them. And when you talk about a band that's about precision, a band that's about technique and style, man, you got to give it to Bethune-Cookman, okay? Also, Norfolk State. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up right now because it's getting kind of long. I can talk about this all day. But shout out to all the HBCUs, man. All the dance teams, you know what I'm saying? The Black Foxes, people don't really everybody talks about the JSUs, they talk about the Golden Girls, but the Stingettes, but you got to give it to Black Ice with Norfolk State, Black Foxes with Prairie View. So you got to start recognizing these other dance teams that are simply outstanding. Shout out to the Flag Girls as well. So recognize that. Y'all check out and also they also have their own little Instagram accounts. You can check out the Black Foxes. You can check out black ice with Norfolk steak. So check them all out, man. Check them out. Check all of them out, all the way around. Let's show support. Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure you give a like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you next time, right here on the Simply Straight Talk YouTube channel. Real Talk with Reggie.
For a message, let him revitalize you. It's time to tune in. This here's so fire. Empower your voice to inspire. Yeah, R&B Jim.